Now, okay, so she sat down at your desk, and he slit her throat, you said?
Well, she was standing at my desk and came up behind and slit her throat, and then she fell down screaming.
And then he stabbed her some more? When he was stabbing her some more, where was he stabbing her?
The neck.
In July 2015, Robert Bever was caught having murdered 4 members of his family: his mom, dad, 2 brothers, and his little sister. Rather than feeling remorse, he instead laughed over their dead bodies. Accompanying Robert was his younger brother, Michael. After killing most of their family, the two ran into the woods and tried to escape, but were quickly surrounded by the police. Robert and Michael Bever were arrested and scheduled to be put on trial. Since Robert was the one to initiate, plan out, and conduct most of the murders, you can make a case that Michael just went along with his brother's plan as a survival tactic. After all, Robert was an adult and Michael was a minor at the time. He could have been manipulated to join his brother's scheme. This interview with Michael Bever that you are about to watch will be used to help the investigators determine how to charge the teenage brother for his actions.
You just gonna read some stuff to you. It makes it legal for us to talk to you, okay?
So you understand what those are saying? Basically, if you want an attorney, just tell me. If you don't like any of the questions I ask, just tell me to stop. If you get uncomfortable, we'll stop whenever you want. Kind of, you're in control. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
We see the officers start by making Michael feel comfortable by telling him he's in charge. This is a common tactic to make the interviewee lower their guard, making them more likely to answer questions truthfully. The officer needs to establish the tone of the interview early on, otherwise they risk losing control of the interviewee later.
You know, I'm just kind of got thrown into this, so I was hoping maybe you could kind of just go back at the beginning when all this started and kind of tell me what happened, because I need kind of the details so we know and understand what you went through and stuff.
Okay, so the very start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Is when we first really started talking.
So when you say we, who are you talking about?
Me and my other brother is also.
Your brother?
Yeah, who's the best with me.
And what's his name?
Robert Bever.
Robert? Okay. And how old is he?
18.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
A couple months ago, I think back to the start of this year, we started talking about voodoo and rampage and stuff like that.
Okay.
I didn't take it seriously at first, but then he started buying like a body armor and stuff.
Where did he buy body armor from?
eBay and Amazon. And then about a month, about like June 30th, is when he came to me and said he found out that he can legally buy guns without permit in Oklahoma, that he could.
Okay.
And that's when he started planning.
So he was buying weapons because you guys had talked about murdering.
Yeah, and he started planning again.
Pay close attention to how Michael keeps distancing himself from his brother's actions. Whenever the officer asks about both the brothers, or points out what they both did, Michael will be quick to redirect the conversation to what just his brother did, as we can tell from his behavior, as well as his closed-off body language. Michael's guard is still up. It'll be the interviewer's job to make sure that Michael feels more open to get more direct answers.
Okay.
And I went along with it because I didn't see the other way. I thought I wouldn't want to do it. I very quickly learned tonight that I didn't.
Okay. That you didn't want to do it?
I don't want to do it. I didn't, just because I didn't kill anyone.
Okay.
I stabbed someone.
Who did you stab?
My younger brother, Christopher.
Christopher. How old's Christopher?
9, I think.
What did you stab him with?
My knife.
What was Christopher doing when you stabbed him?
He was laying on the bathroom floor. Robert was also stabbing, and Robert asked me to go over and help him. So I stabbed Christopher, and then...
Where did you stab him?
Side of the neck.
Really? Okay. So was Christopher still alive when you stabbed him?
Yes.
What was he saying and doing?
He was just screaming.
Screaming. Did you say he was in the bathroom?
Yeah, I was next to the toilet, with that bathroom.
Who else was in the bathroom?
I think Victoria might have been in there. About
Victoria?
Yeah, my 4-year-old sister.
4-year-old, okay. I want to talk about that more, but we got to try to kind of stay like chronologically, if you know what I mean. So let's go back real quick. We're talking about the ammunition being delivered, making plans. Tell me more about making plans and what you guys talked about.
The officer brings the subject back to the planning phase of the murder to try to get more answers.
Making plans, we plotted every night And I started realizing we were actually going to do this on the second night. And so I started getting ready.
Did you guys make drawings or write things down? Or
I think he had a journal. Basically writing his ideas down. I think it's under his bed.
Under his
I
bed?
haven't checked out.
Is it like a journal, like a notepad, or like
yeah,
a book?
It's like a blank book.
Okay.
A black book. I think it's like a little case or something.
So do you think he wrote stuff in there?
Yeah, I think he was planning in it.
It might not look it, but an important shift just happened. The officer changed from saying you to saying he, taking some pressure off of Michael. Michael starts to become more relaxed from this, as we can see his arms uncrossing.
So then the second day you said that's when you realized that it might actually happen?
Yeah.
What made you realize that?
How serious he was. I mean, he was going through, he started planning on taking all of his money out of his bank and throwing away all his stuff, so you know.
Why did he want to do it?
Kill people? Yeah. Well, mainly two reasons, I think. It's because he just, he says he hates everyone. He thinks society is pointless, and so he wanted to kill people.
Yeah,
and also he wanted to, beat the kill, amount of other famous people like Columbine and James Deacon Holmes.
Okay. Did you kind of feel that way too, like when you guys were talking earlier,
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with society too, do you think?
No, I just...
Or you were just more like the number of people getting killed was kind of interesting and exciting?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the officer's careful navigation pays off when he gets Michael's first confession about his intention to murder. The interviewer gets Michael to admit that the high number of killings proposed by Robert sounded interesting to him. This opens the door for Michael to be held accountable for his actions, rather than having just followed his brother.
So did you guys have a goal? Did you have a number?
He just wanted, I think he wanted to kill 50.
Okay.
I have a goal.
So as the planning goes, tell me what plans you started making and coming up with.
Well, originally, I think kind of stayed steady throughout the month. We wanted to kill everyone at the house first.
Okay.
And then wait for all the packages to show up over the weekend. And then we take the Yukon and we'd get out of our state with the guns and start killing, rampaging.
Did you know where you were going to drive to?
Towards Washington.
Washington State or D.C.?
Washington State.
So what happened after, tell me some more.
Back a week before is when I started throwing away useless stuff.
Okay.
And so did he.
What kind of stuff did you throw away?
Random stuff, toys, stuff that was just piled up in my closet, and he had the room to put the body armor.
And then the body armor that you had, what was it like?
It was almost identical.
Okay.
Just a couple different models and stuff.
And where is your body armor now?
Oh, my vest and my helmet, it was laying in the woods. The dog pulled it off of me.
Oh.
I was wearing it.
Oh, you were wearing it?
Yeah, I was wearing this vest and the plate carrier and the helmet. So I took that, and the rest of my body armor was still in the closet.
Okay.
Here's another clever yet subtle tactic the officer uses, by asking Michael to describe specifically his body armor. The officer is getting Michael to be more okay with talking about himself in regards to the crime instead of deflecting to his brother. Remember, the police have the body armor confiscated. They know exactly what it's like. What might seem like small talk or gathering evidence is actually a part of a clever strategy to get Michael to be in a position the officer wants him to be in.
So then kind of what happened is, you guys started getting all that stuff together and throwing things away.
And we doing all the packages and the holsters, alibis, all that stuff was going to get from Amazon. And so we set a date.
And there, Michael said we instead of deflecting to what Robert did in that situation. Michael is opening up more and more about his involvement in the crime.
So was the plan to use the knives at first on the family?
Use the knives.
Because the guns weren't going to be here till later on?
Yeah, and the guns would be too loud.
So then you picked a date, you said?
Yeah, which was yesterday night. That was the date.
Did you pick a time and everything?
Yep, midnight when most everyone was in bed except for Mom.
So how did you guys know? He just came and got you, or you got him, or what you guys do?
We were hanging out in our bedroom waiting.
Okay, and so
How did you pick the date?
It evolved with the packages and stuff would be how, because all the ammunition, he didn't want them to see that. So he killed them the day before the ammunition would get out, the day after the move.
do you guys not like your mom and dad? I mean, have they, I mean, most teenagers don't like their parents, so I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, mom was okay, but dad was a little bit,
Just a little bit too much.
Yes.
So, you guys waiting in the room,
Mm-hmm.
and was it right when midnight, and that's when things started?
Right at midnight, my sister, she came in, because she was getting to go to bed, she came in to tell us.
How old is
13.
Okay.
She came in to tell us that mom wanted us to get the kitchen done before we went to bed and put the cats up. And basically, we did what we planned. I got to my desk, and I had to look at something to just get to roll up. We went up behind her, grabbed her, and slept with you. And then she fell to the ground screaming. Mom and dad, mom came in first, and then she was
Is
in
your
the
room
hallway.
upstairs or something? I don't know. I haven't been to your house, so I don't know.
Our room is downstairs. It's towards the back of the
Okay.
house.
And so she fell down and started screaming.
Yeah, Robert kept stabbing her. I kind of freaked out because,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't planning on
Were you
this.
saying anything, or, I mean?
I just stood there.
Okay.
And then mom came in yelling, call the police. And then he went over and stabbed her.
Then he stabbed her?
Yeah, he probably was stabbing her, pushed her, further down the hallway, and got up and ran.
Okay.
She ran out the door.
So she sat down at your desk,
Mhm.
and he slit her throat, you said?
Well, she was standing at my desk and
Oh, I
came up
see.
behind and slit her throat, and then she fell down screaming.
And then he stabbed her some more? When he was stabbing her some more, where was he stabbing her?
Her neck.
Oh, at her
Her
neck?
neck and stomach.
Stomach, okay.
And then my mom came in and she started yelling, call the police, get dad. And then he came over and started attacking her. And he actually got up and ran out the front door.
Wow.
And once mom was on the ground, he got up and started chasing after her.
And what were you doing?
Standing
Did you come out in the hallway?
No, I was just standing in the room. And the process, I don't know what I was doing.
So he stabbed your mom with the same knife?
Yep, same.
And where did he stab her?
I think in the neck too.
Okay.
And no, actually, he stabbed her in the neck, pushed her into the kitchen, and then together. So with her, she started screaming and ran into the family room. At the same time, he realized had left the house. So I went over and disabled the alarm server, and
But had she already gone outside?
she went outside, and then Robert went after her.
So where did she?
She was laying in the driveway, and he took her back from the bench, if you don't go, and started choking her.
On the bench out front?
Yeah, it was like a little bench, and he threw the bench on her and went back inside to go after the little kids.
Did he bring her in, or did she stay out there?
She stayed out there until he asked me to bring her in. I ran out. I had to go her inside. That's why she was in the rescue way. I had to go her inside.
You brought her back in.
Yeah,
Was she still alive?
Yeah, she was still screaming. And then that's about the time Dad came down.
Okay.
Because his bedroom's upstairs. And he went back in the boys' area where Robert was. The boys' area, that's what they call it, a room. And they started attacking Dad. They got a little bit of a fight, but then eventually Robert got him down, and I think he killed him.
Did he cut his throat too? Where did that happen?
In our room.
In your room?
Yeah.
And where were you?
I was standing in the hallway.
Okay. So did you see him cut your dad's throat?
Yeah.
Did he stab him other places too?
I don't know, I think he just went for the throat. And
And where was she? Was in the entryway?
yeah, I think she was in the entryway at that time, and then he went in, and Daniel was in his room, which is down the hall, and I was like, let me.
How old's Daniel?
I think he's 12.
Okay.
And I was like, let me in, and he let me in. He was sitting on the phone with the police. I grabbed the phone, which is my phone. He got my phone. And then I ran into the kitchen and I smashed the underground. So,
Which was your phone?
Yeah, it was my phone.
Ugh. Now you don't have a cell phone anymore.
I don't.
Now, it might be seeming weird for the officer to joke about a broken cell phone considering the context, but remember, Every piece of the conversation is meant to meet a goal in the interview, and a joke like this helps in two ways. First, it alleviates some tension, making it easier for the subject to talk about difficult topics. Second, it helps the interviewer connect with Michael and make it feel like they're on the same side. An oddly placed joke like this is a small moment, but it's the many small moments like this that allow interviewers to get the information they need.
And then I went back there, and and Daniel and Christopher locked himself in the bathroom, Daniel locked himself in Dad's office.
Okay.
And then I finally got both of them to open the door, because they thought I wanted in there to see.
But they were in different rooms?
Yeah, they're right next to each other. Right?
Oh, I see.
And then Robert went in and stabbed him, and they went in and stabbed Christopher. That's when I stabbed Christopher.
So when he stabbed Daniel, where did he stab Daniel?
I think he shanked him in the neck, and then Daniel ran off, and so I went in and started attacking Christopher.
So Daniel got stabbed in the neck and ran off?
Yeah.
Where did he run to?
He ran into the family room about Mom. Mom ended up, she was lying on the ground yelling, call 911.
Okay. And he stopped in there?
Yeah, he collapsed in there, and then Robert came in and started stabbing him in the chest.
Oh, I see. And then who's the youngest, the 4-year-old?
The 4-year-old, I don't know what happened with her. I hope she's alive.
I'm sorry, maybe I messed up. The one that you stabbed, who was that?
Christopher.
Christopher, that's what I'm
He's 8-year-old, I think.
He's 8.
10.
And he was in the bathroom.
Yep.
So Daniel had got stabbed in the neck, ran out to where your mom was.
Yeah.
Robert followed him, stabbed him some more.
Yeah, after we stabbed Christopher in the bathroom.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then basically after that, everyone was pretty much dead. We forgot about all.
Who was dead?
Everyone, I think,
Okay.
looked like they were dead, except for she was lying in the interview screaming. Then there was a knock at the door.
Okay.
Someone knocked at the door. I think that might be the neighbor, because the police wouldn't have been there yet. And then they just kept knocking on the door. So we turned around, I grabbed on, put my soft vest and heavy vest on. I was carrying the plates. I put my helmet on. And then we went out the back door of Dad's office, climbed over the fence, went down into the park, and started cutting through the woods.
Okay.
We both collapsed. We were just sitting there when they found us.
That's how you got kind of dirty and stuff, dirt on you.
Yeah.
So you guys collapsed. Were you just kind of hiding out?
Yeah, we were just laying in a little ditch thing in the woods, and then we saw the light and we lay down, and the dog came over.
Did you hear the dog coming?
Mm-hmm.
So we talked a lot about your plans in the beginning, because here's what I don't understand is, as you and Robert are kind of planning things out, I mean, because you seem like a really smart kid, and that you kind of, I mean, it seems like you had some pretty detailed plans. You guys had good equipment and weapons. And it seems to me, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I would think that as you guys planned this out, you had maybe more specific plans, like Robert was going to kill this person, and you were going to kill. So who were you supposed to kill?
The officer has done a lot of groundwork to get Michael to feel comfortable about talking about his own involvement in the murders, and is now ready to start asking more pressing questions. Remember, the objective is to separate Michael from his older brother, Robert. There needs to be clear proof that Michael acted and murdered on his own accord. We have some evidence already, but there needs to be something more concrete to be used in court.
I was supposed to take my pistol crossbow. Who was supposed to shank his son. She was supposed to die quietly. Yeah, she was going to be the first one, she was. And then Robert would go in, slit Mom's throat, push her over with him. We both go in and kill Victoria.
Because it was supposed to be like quiet, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be with it. And then I would go upstairs and shoot David, Dad, and the guy with my pistol crossbow, which would kill him. And then Robert would go over and kill him.
Okay.
So did you use your crossbow at all?
No. The only time I ever hurt anybody was when I stabbed Christopher in the neck.
So, who all died? Who do you know died for sure? Like, what's the count? How do we know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Who do you think died?
Dad, Mom, Daniel. That's about all I know because I saw them.
And Daniel's the one that you stabbed?
No, Chris was the one I stabbed. Daniel's the one he went in and stabbed him in the lungs.
And he was in the living room?
Yeah, in the living room with Mom.
And Christopher, you stabbed him in the neck.
Yeah, he was in the bath, you know.
So was he still making noise when you left, or how did that go down?
Yeah, he was still yelling when I left. I don't know if I probably killed him. I think he might have been alive because later I came back and the door was shut and locked. I tried to kick it down.
Okay.
Just got those holes in that door now.
So.
You kicked it down?
I didn't kick it down.
Okay.
I just got it too. Nobody kicked it down.
Oh.
It stayed intact. I don't know what's in there if he's still alive.
Did you, because here's what I'm seeing happen. You know, you guys had all these detailed plans. You had all the cool stuff to make it happen.
Yeah.
And it kind of started falling apart. And you said, like, it didn't go as planned. Did you kind of just freak out a little bit? Like,
yeah,
what's really happening?
Well, I didn't know it was going to like.
A few things to note. Michael crosses his arms again, showing that he's more on guard after receiving the more direct questions. Michael also reiterates a stance he made previously about how he didn't know how things were going to go down when they got to the house. Then he stutters as he realizes this contradicts all the times he and the officers talked about their detailed plans. This gives the officer the leverage he needs to call out the contradiction.
Yeah, you don't. But here's what's getting me is like, it's crazy because you guys worked together and made all these plans and, you know, had it all figured out. And then when it happens, you're just kind of standing there not doing anything. And did you decide like, Robert's going to kill everybody and I'm going to stand here and do nothing, so I better... did you...
I think that was my plan. I didn't want to kill anyone or hurt anyone. I couldn't do it, so I was going to let him, like, kill everyone.
Yeah, you stabbed somebody in the neck.
No, I just kind of...
Again, it seems strange that the officer offers a murder suspect an explanation for his actions. But this is another key part of suspect interviews. You want to lock your subjects into one truth to make it harder for them to get out of it when you point out a contradiction. The officer has broken down Michael's first claim and is now trying to lock him into a new story while he's vulnerable. If they can't get the truth out of Michael during the interview, they will do all they can to make it easier for the truth to come out in court.
Well, what I'm saying is it's not Robert's the one that should get all the credit here. Because it's a big deal. You're going to be on the news. You know what I mean?
I know.
People are going to want to interview you.
I don't want to be interviewed. I'm moving this.
Well, but I'm just thinking...
He does.
Because you had said you had the plans, like, you're supposed to kill this person.
Yep.
He's supposed to kill this person. Were you supposed to kill Christopher? Was he your responsibility?
No,
it just worked out that
Christopher
way?
and Daniel was supposed to be his responsibility. I was only supposed to kill Dad. And victory, hope with victory.
But he had already basically done that.
Yeah.
So now you're left standing there. So were you trying to kill Christopher when you stabbed him in the neck? Were you just gonna...
I broke his missed the middle of the neck. I think I might have even hit him in the shoulder. I certainly didn't do it hard, but I don't know.
So as all this was going on, what was Robert saying? Did he say anything to you?
He didn't say anything to me until we were getting ready to head out the back door. I asked him if he was okay, what was going on. He said, yeah.
Okay. Did you say anything to Christopher?
I just...
No. So you stabbed him. Now it's several hours later. How are you feeling?
This whole thing, like from when you first stabbed to getting caught, I think it only lasted about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was like, because it's 8 o'clock in the morning now. So it's like 8 hours ago.
Yeah.
So how do you feel now?
I
just kind of...
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done that.
So, I guess where I'm kind of confused is if you didn't want this anymore and you didn't want this to go down this way, why con them into opening the doors and letting this continue?
I was trying to help Robert.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see Michael start to backpedal on his involvement with the crime. He's now being much more cautious and again redirecting the focus to Robert instead of himself. He may have helped Robert conduct the murders, but he's now saying he didn't want to. It was just to help out Robert. This contradicts several of his previous claims about planning the murder and being excited about the high body count. But the contradictory statements you need in an interview need to be as concrete as possible so they can't be open to interpretation.
So here's a problem that we might have, and I don't want it to be an issue for you because you've been really cooperative. You know, we're going to talk to Robert too. So he's going to give us his version of the story, and, you know, sometimes they're going to be different. So is there anything that you kind of didn't quite tell me right, or you changed a little bit, and now that you understand that Robert's going to tell me everything?
But he'll probably tell you that he'll forgive them, because that's what I told him, you know, when we were sitting out in the woods, you know, to make conversation. But, you know, forensics will show you how they stabbed Christopher.
What 3?
What do you mean you told him? So you told him you killed 3 people?
Yeah, I told him, because he asked me how many did you get. I said 3.
Did you tell him who you got?
No, I just said 3. I mean, along with the do thing, I was going around and, like, convincing the people who were still alive that, like, I was on their side. I called the police, you know, so they would, like, stay and Robert could get them.
So they kind of stay on the ground, and he'd be able to come stab him again.
Yeah.
And that's all you think that he might tell me different? Is he going to lie to me?
I don't know. I don't think he would lie, because I'm pretty sure the only reason he's, like, he let himself get arrested and it's not like getting a major shootout and dying from the police is because he wanted to see the aftermath. He just wanted to be famous.
What did you want?
Me?
Mm-hmm. You keep talking about what he wanted. What did you want?
No, I just wanted to go out Luna's program, get a job.
But you, I mean, your big brother's telling you he wants to be famous, and you guys are making these plans. Surely you want some of that fame too, right?
Yeah, I do want to do it with him, because, like, he's going to do it no matter what. He says if I don't do it with him, they'll just kill me too, or leave me there. So, do it with him.
Yeah. Well, I was right. The guys that are interviewing Robert kind of gave me a quick version of what he's saying that you did.
Yeah.
And you haven't told me everything, okay? So I know you're not being completely honest, and I gave you one shot already.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you might say. I mean,
Well, you stabbed more than one person. So who else did you stab?
more than 1%.
Or you stabbed more than just one time?
Oh, I stabbed Christopher more than one time.
How many times did you stab him?
I think twice.
Because you don't think we're going to know that?
Stop
I
thinking
know.
and go with what you know.
You mentioned forensics a minute ago.
I know.
I mean, I'm just one of like hundreds of people that are going to look at this thing, okay? So everybody that you killed and every single stab wound that you inflicted, we're going to know about. And this is your last chance to just kind of let us know, to be honest, to man up and tell us exactly what you did and start making it right.
This is the classic tactic of using the illusion of knowledge as a threat. When you think about it, if the police are going to know about everything in a crime scene from forensics, then why do they need an interview? While it's impossible for the police to know everything that happens, the officer here is making it feel like Michael could get caught for anything, and that he should confess more of what he knows.
I hit Christopher. I did not stab Victoria with Daniel.
You did not stab Victoria.
I tried to stab Mom.
You stabbed them all.
When she was walking away, I tried to go for her neck, but, you know.
So you cut her neck. You stabbed Christopher in the neck. How many times did you stab Christopher?
2 or 3, I think.
And who else did you stab?
Besides Mom.
Because here's the thing. Everybody's been stabbed. And you both had knives. And we know you both stabbed everybody. So you guys are kind of at the same level. And so now it's who's going to be honest and make this right? And who's a liar? Okay, which one do you want to be?
I'm not.
Okay, so you're a man of your word?
Yes.
Okay. And do you want to make this right and do the right thing at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay. What else are you
Okay.
missing?
You want to start over then?
I'm like,
You tell us where you need to start.
he stabs. I didn't stab. I was stabbed through a truck window. So,
What about the crossbow?
the crossbow, yeah. It was pulled back, like it didn't have a bolt or arrow or anything. It got fiery and broke.
It broke?
Yeah, I never been trying to use it. It broke. It's cheap.
So it broke before last night?
It broke when I tried to get it fire because I wasn't able to do anything, and I just need to unclock it. So I played around the pulled the trigger and this thing,
And that was a while ago, or that was last night?
Oh, that was last night.
Because you were supposed to use it.
I was supposed to use it. I was caught back and I wasn't going to use it, so I tried to, unclock it and it broke.
So nobody's gonna have any crossbow injuries?
No, they're not.
Okay.
What about the big knife, the machete? Did that get used on somebody?
I think he might have used it on Daniel. I think that's what he might have used to stab him in the chest.
And what about the surgical blade knife?
I think that's what someone was good with, too. So yeah, I think he used all of them. I only used the one knife, the green one.
You only used the green one?
Yeah.
And you're sticking to that? How do you feel about what you've done now?
I didn't like it the minute it started.
How do you feel about your mother? You watched her get stabbed, you cut her throat yourself, and you watched her bleed all over the place and scream. How does that make you feel?
No, I don't think about it.
You don't want to think about it? And Christopher, your little brother, you stabbed him in the neck. What has he ever done to you?
Nothing.
So he's just a number.
Yes.
And how do you feel about that now?
It's pointless.
It's what?
Pointless.
Pointless. Would you be willing to write us a statement kind of explaining what we just talked about?
Yeah.
Why does the officer have Michael write everything out if the interview was being recorded? It's yet another tactic to gather evidence. Writing takes more time and thought than talking. While writing down a series of events, a person will likely include new details that they didn't recall before. In a crime like this, where having as many details as possible matters, steps like this can be crucial in coming to the truth.